the serious buffering problems. It's looking like I had the bitrate set for a video that was twice as big as this.
Percent is still good.
All right.
It is.
And
Okay. So, yeah, there we go. Awesome, awesome. Okay, cool. So we're also live on Twitch. Bad boy is what I think it is. Happen again? Oh boy. This streaming software is just a minute in. Okay, cool. All right. Thank you guys for joining. Turn it back. It should fix it. Let me know if it doesn't, but it should have fixed the problem there. Thank you for. Oh. All right, let's see where we're at.
And Michigan. Those are three big states that are going to tell us a lot. And
Anybody
I'd
got
like to
anything
have
for us?
more information about who turned out and who voted before we know that. But at
This
the
is,
rate it's going
PBS
right now, what it looks like
that we're watching. I
is
also
very similar to
have-
what we saw in 2018,
I have
where
tabs open.
the map looks very similar to where Democrats were successful in 2018, Arizona and Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, if that ends up being true. But coming up short in places like Texas and Florida. We don't know Georgia yet. But I do think there is something important to remember about this, though, is how close these states became. And if I were Republicans, I don't know that I would feel particularly great about the fact that states that traditionally went overwhelmingly for Republicans, like Georgia and Texas, are now considered on the bubble.
Well, it's you're right. It's early, but, but these are questions.
Yeah,
that's right. These are questions that we're going to continue to seek answers to. All right. Thank you all to Mark, David, Jonathan, Eliana, Amy. Thank you. Please don't go anywhere. Please don't go far away. We do want to stress.
Cool. Oh, what do you want to stress, girl?
Especially early in the evening, that there have been many eyes on this election, a lot of effort to shield this election from foreign interference.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
And to put processes in place to ensure that this election is safe and that the vote is secure. And to add more context tonight, Nina Jankowicz joins us now. She studies disinformation campaigns at the Wilson Center. It's a
Cool. Definitely want to hear that. I wanted to ask you guys in the comments if you have felt like the internet over the past, few days, few weeks, few months has felt any different to you. I'm online all the time. I mean, this is where I work. It's felt different. I can't explain it, but I mean I don't know if you guys saw the video that I made about the Trump train. There were a lot of really disgusting Trump supporters in there, but it just wasn't the level of just the intensity of the comments wasn't nearly as bad as 2016, and I think that's because a lot of Russian chat farms and social media farms were shut down essentially by these social media. But I wanted to throw that out there for you guys to see if you had any concrete examples of just something that it was different, being online over the past few weeks, in 2020 as opposed to weeks leading up to the election. Let's hear what she has to say.
Nonpartisan think tank. She's also the author of How to Lose the Information War. Also joining us, Nate Persily. He's an election law expert and professor at Stanford Law School. So to both of you, I'll start with you, Nate. Tell me, what do you look, when I last spoke with you, it's been a couple of hours ago, you were keeping an eye. At that point, you didn't see anything of concern, but there was a lot to watch. What have you seen in the interim?
Well, I think we need to prepare ourselves for several days of waiting and arguments over the count. I think that, there was not a knockout punch that was thrown by either candidate in these first hours after polls closed. This does cause concern if you are people like me and Nina who study disinformation and thinking about what these next few days may look like as there's debate over the absentee ballots in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan. But we've been trying to inoculate people on this, that this is a different type of election because there are so many absentee ballots. You're going to start learning about new terms about curing absentee ballots and provisional ballots. We've already seen 2 lawsuits filed by the Republicans in Pennsylvania. It is not in Bush versus Gore territory yet, but we need to be patient and make sure that all the votes are counted.
And to Nina, I'd ask you to pick up on that, but also to talk about disinformation and to what extent it could play a role in the days to come. We certainly hope it doesn't, but the more time that passes between the end of voting and when we're able to know the winner, it seems to me, the more opportunities there are for mischief.
Absolutely, Judy. That's a huge vulnerability in the way that this election is going to play out this year. And frankly, we're already seeing some fringe political websites as well as a few foreign overt propaganda websites starting to pick up on this vulnerability, projecting winners too early, not using the same sorts of editorial practices that, for instance, the NewsHour or the AP do. And that's very dangerous because it presents one picture and then allows another side to claim that perhaps that results are rigged, which is a narrative that we've seen coming up over and over. But overall, we haven't seen the level of foreign interference that we saw in 2016. We've even seen election security officials say today that this is less than even in 2018 during the midterms. Now, I would caution, not only do we have those vulnerabilities coming up, but at this point in 2016, we didn't really know the depth and breadth of foreign interference, and we are so much more polarized. We have so much more domestic disinformation this year that all of that is just being amplified by foreign actors as well.
Yeah, no question about it. And you're right, the polarization makes it worse. So Nate, personally, given that and given the fact, as we're now discussing, this could drag on for several more days, at least hours, at least into tomorrow, and possibly into Thursday. I'm very reluctant to make any forecast here. What is it that you're going to be keeping a particularly close eye on?
Well, the first thing we're looking at are the totals as they come in. Even if you put yourself in the kind of litigation mindset of 20 years ago, the most important question or variable has always been sort of what do the vote totals look at the bottom of the screen. Now, again, we are not there yet, and I think that we need to trust the process. There are state laws that deal with close elections. There are state laws that deal with absentee ballots. We've had quite a bit of litigation before this election, which is actually helpful because it helped clarify some of those rules on various issues, say in Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. And so there's a legal framework that needs to be followed. And in the coming days, you're going to see it both at the administrative level and then also in court.
And Nina Jankowicz, what signals need to be sent in terms of potential foreign interference? We certainly hope it doesn't grow. It's not anything significant. But what signals could be sent from Washington, should be sent from Washington, to say to foreign actors, stay away while we figure out who the winner of this election is?
Well, we've already seen election security officials giving hints that perhaps they were pushing away different cyber actors, state cyber actors like Russia and Iran, hobbling their operations ahead of Election Day. I do think it's
Yeah.
important, particularly in this context, though, that we understand Election Day as an inflection point and not an end point. So hopefully they're hobbled to the extent that their cyber operations can't be brought back online in the coming days. But I would also caution, all of the viewers out there, and Nick Schifrin mentioned this at the top of the program many hours ago, that there's the possibility for perception hacking. So for an adversary to give the idea that something has been compromised, a website or something like that, to deface those websites, that does.
Yeah, or to call winners before they've been called. Right. She's raising some good points about them keeping those Russian bot farms offline. But what fascinates me at Donald Trump doesn't have any role in those intelligence agencies hampering those Russian bot farms. Like Donald Trump, that's how he won in 20. And so it just amazes me that we have this president who the inner workings of our government is simply bypassing to protect us. And yet he still wins Florida. Spends all his time golfing, the largest mass casualty event in American history, impeached, and he wins Florida. Like Florida. Florida, man. Like what? What is it, guys? How are you so susceptible? Anyway, okay. All right, let's take a look here. We have some interesting interesting points some people are bringing up. We got Ohio and Iowa. Joe Biden is doing better than Hillary Clinton did. And we have some, where are we? Let's see here. Ohio. Got Iowa. He's hanging in there. 85% reporting. Again, I mean, where do I find a list of states with mail-in ballot counting? I don't know. How am I? Here's when each state starts. Boom. Here we go. Sweet. The Hill. Thank you very much. Here's when each state starts tallying up mail-in ballots. All right, let's take a look. Where are we? Okay, Alabama, Alaska. All right, so let's go down here. Bring that back. Show you guys. I'm looking at. Nick, yeah, Trump won Florida, man. Florida's been called for Trump, man. Yeah, he won. Yeah, amazing. Okay, so we're talking about Ohio. We're talking about Iowa. We're talking about Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Indiana. It's looking like Indiana's gonna go pretty red. All right, we got. Let's go down to the M's and the Dubs. Election officials can start counting absentee ballots after the polls open at 7 a.m. So Michigan pretty much has. They got 50% reporting. I have no idea if they've started to count those absentee ballots first thing, or if they come after the in-person ballots. I would kind of assume that it's going to come after the in-person ballots, just because if they can only start counting them after 7 a.m., then all the poll workers are involved with making sure the in-person ballots go smoothly. But we'll see. But from what it sounds like, from the political analyses that I've been seeing, then those states aren't. They're going to be counting them later. We'll see though. Okay, so is Minnesota the same thing? Where I look at Michigan, 7 a.m. Minnesota will count absentee ballots after the polls close at 9 p.m. Okay, so Minnesota they've been counting absentee ballots for about 2.5 hours, and Biden is Biden is up. Biden is up. So if Michigan hasn't gotten to their ballots yet, right, those absentee ballots, could we see a big swing? Could we? Okay, Wisconsin, that's what we're also going to check out. $8 p.m. Okay, the Hill, this doesn't make any sense. Wisconsin will count absentee ballots after polls open at 8 p.m. Eastern. Wisconsin's doing midnight ballots, baby. Yeah, no, okay, so that's a little... That's weird. What I'm assuming is that was 8 a.m.? Or maybe polls closed? I don't know. Either way, Wisconsin has some mail-in ballots to cast. Okay, Wisconsin is going to be huge, guys. 71% reporting. He's up 120. 116. All right. All right, let's check out the comments. You guys are chatting away. Thank you guys. Welcome. Welcome. Good to see you guys. Good to hear from you all. I hope you guys have had a good election day. Okay. Start from the top. Trump won Florida. Yeah, Nick, I was talking to you there. Can someone please tell me if he's gonna go up? Because there's no way that he's this low right now. And I'm assuming you're talking about Trump and his ballots and his electoral count. But maybe, I don't know. Let me know if that's what you were thinking, Darren. I don't know who raised X this talking to. All right, we got some Trump fans in here. We got some Biden fans. Good profile. Trump party won Montana. Frank says Trump won Montana. Probably. I think that was a... Wow. Wow, that's actually closer than I thought it would be. Montana. Let's take a look at... Ooh. Let's not do that. Okay, here we go. Sweet. Okay, that's there. And then check this out. We'll go to... I had this other... Come on, where are you? Here we go. Okay, we are going to take a look at this guy. But actually, you know what I'm going to do? Here, do this. I'm going to quick. Guys. Ooh. You guys get to see how the sausage is made. All right. So, here we go. This is a really, really cool map. This is a lot of fun because there are a ton of different maps that we can check out. Like, go here. Then, oh, there. In there with me, guys. Boom. Okay. Cool. So, this was 2016's how it actually played out. And let's look at Montana. If we click this, what will it? Nope. It won't tell us any information on split. Huh. Okay. So, 2016 Montana red, right? I mean, I don't think. Then we can do this. We can go 2012 actual. Yeah. Red. I mean, this is essentially what Biden is hoping to accomplish, right? He wants to win back those North Midwest states, right? This is 2012 we're looking at right here. This is Barack Obama's victory. Minnesota's looking pretty good, right? And do bring this guy in. Both of them. Sweet. Here we go. Okay. So what we have here is the current we got the current electoral count so far. This is 2012. This is when Barack Obama won. And you can see that their strategy is, I mean, it would have been awesome if he would have hit Florida right away. That's what gave Barack Obama the landslide victory in 2012, right? Against McCain. Look, I mean the Romneys. Wait, Darren, I thought you were a Biden supporter. I don't know. You keep going back and forth, man. I'm confused. So okay, here we are. Let's see here. We got so, as you'll kind of pretty much see, if this is red, Barack Obama's still crushing it. And that is largely because data here, and where else? What else do we got? He's got Iowa locked. Yeah, what else does Barack Obama have locked? Ohio, that's big, right? I mean, that's pretty much these guys right here. That's it. I was hoping, and maybe I was probably a little too far ahead of my time, but I was hoping that the run would be here. It'd be a Texas, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. Who knows? Maybe Kamala can do that. Maybe Kamala can do that in like 2024. Maybe she can take like a Texas, Georgia, but she's also a California. I don't know. But this is pretty much the strat, guys. This is the Biden Obama 2012 strategy. Now, this is Obama's electoral map, and this is the current one, right? Nevada, we got no idea yet what's going on in Nevada. David Blake, Kanye can still pull it out. Oh man. Excuse me. Oh, excuse me. God bless. Bro, this makes me so worried. Dude, I think we're good, man. I think we're good. I think we're good, man. I think we're good. I think the mail-in ballots are going to come in pretty heavily for Biden here. And I think, let's see if we can reset this thing, and that'll take us back to kind of where we are now, right? Those pretty much look exactly the same, even though they're giving data to Biden. Let's see if we have anything new on that front. Fox News is called Texas for Donald Trump, right? NBC has the Senate at 43-43 right now, which is fascinating. And Trump is ahead 8 points in Ohio. But Ohio's one of those things where, like, could Ohio... Let's see what Ohio's... Let's see when their absentee ballots are counted. See, another thing about this is, like... Okay, so the absentee ballots have only been uh, they've been counted for a few hours. So again, Ohio might be the perfect representation of the red mirage. We might see Joe Biden start to climb back from there. No idea. Could it happen? No idea. Let's see where did Ohio go in 2012? See, Ohio went blue in 2012. So again, this is just one of those things that's like very easily he could climb. We're not done yet. I don't think they're done yet in Ohio. Let's see what Ohio did. Ohio went for Clinton. I'm wondering what Ohio did in okay. So damn, Trump beat Clinton in Ohio by 8. And he's currently up. What is it now? Where is he at? He's up more. And that's not going to hold. This is not going to hold. This is not going to hold as strongly as it is for Trump. We're going to start to see and I don't know what Ohio, what their state said about counting ballots through the night. It doesn't seem like many of the states are going to be doing that. They're just kind of like, go to bed. We'll count them in the morning. But Ohio's going to be fascinating. Ohio's going to be fascinating to watch. Because that looks like the red mirage. Yeah, I mean, again, okay, so Michigan. Donald Trump is up big in Michigan. And he did beat Hillary he beat her by 1. Yeah, Michigan can't hold. That's not going to hold. Let's refresh this thing to see if we can get a new update. Yeah, Michigan's not going to hold because they're still counting absentee ballots. This is pretty much the red mirage right here. This is it. This is it. This is where it all is going to... Oh, dude, I'm sorry if I'm making you anxious, kids. I know, man. I was there was a point where I was like, I don't even know if I'm gonna like come on and stream. You know? Like part of me, I was getting anxious, I was getting nervous, but I just gotta keep thinking about, you know, all those absentee ballots coming in. I don't know. Yeezy won Pink House's Brooklyn. Oh, it's a project. You know, props to him if he did it. You know what I mean? Kendall, what are my thoughts if Trump does pull through? So I think he'll get impeached again. First and foremost, they'll just wait for him to get impeached. I mean, and if the Senate, which I mean, I don't know. I haven't really looked at the electoral, math on the Senate, but definitely like it's just going to be a lot of just acrimony again, And that's where I was like, dude, Donald, man, you lost the House again, dude. Just give it up, man. You know what I mean? Like, go move to Russia. Like, just forget about this. Like you don't need to do this anymore. Like, just go play golf in Russia. That's all you care about, dude. I don't know. He's not gonna do it. Yeah, Nataliana. Wait, yeah, does that make you happy that like people will be sad? I don't know. It's weird. I don't know, Mary. I haven't heard any reports. If you have any information on that. Wait. So Kendall, yeah, there's just one thing to remember is that we still have a lot of mail-in ballots that haven't been counted in really key states. So that includes these up here, right? Your so in you have states like up here, up in this North Midwest area, the Great Lakes area, that still have quite a bit of ballots to count. And so this seems to be the focus. As I'm, I'm actually kind of surprised that a lot more people weren't talking about these states, because that's what everybody was. That seemed to be like the media's favorite question over the past week. Why, what state are you gonna watch? It's like everybody had something different to say, but it's definitely like Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania. Like that's it. That's it. It would have been awesome. You didn't have to watch those states if like Texas went blue and Florida went blue and Georgia went blue and North Carolina went blue. That's not looking like it's gonna happen. That is not looking like it's gonna happen. Uh, do I think? Do I? Who do I think is gonna win? Let's. Well, I mean, let's see. First, let's get before we go into that. Um, let's just see if there's been any updates. Outlets are already calling Hawaii for Joe Biden. I don't even know if they're what the polls like. They must have just closed, right? What is Hawaii 4 hours before West Coast? So 5 o'clock maybe in Hawaii. I don't think the polls would close at 5 now. Yeah. So okay. So if we go this guy back in. Oh man. Sorry, that alert box should be like on top there. Thank you. I think that was a subscribe. Thank you guys. Thank you. You guys can also sign up. There's I have memberships on the channel. You can sponsor that. That's get your name up on the screen there, which is pretty cool. Yeah, Grillo, man. Thank you for subscribing. Cool. So okay. So we're gonna go. Let's reset this thing. I think was that CNN? Did they have the? Somebody had a really cool interactive electoral map that I thought Google's is just it's not good enough for me to like click around in. It's where was that? 270 to win. That's what I'm using over there. Yeah, here we go. I think it's the electoral map. This. No, not really. Oh my gosh. Whoever chose that disgusting yellow should be fired. That's CNN. Oh man. Oh, gross. Okay, we're not going to use that map. All right, we're going back to. Oh, I'm also on Twitch, guys. There I am. Whoop. Twitch. Reflect News, maybe. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows what? Okay, where are we? Okay, so we pretty much have it. I mean, that's polling map. Okay, 2020. So, Vijay, thank you for the subscribe, man. Appreciate it. All right, so it's looking like red is leaning, right? We got Iowa, which, okay, he's down 100,000 votes. Let's see when Iowa does their, because you guys got to remember, right? Like, absentee ballots will be counted by 11 p.m. Eastern. So I was ballots are already, their ballots are already counted. I wish I could get down and dirty into these, you know, into the counties, but I can't. If I can find something. Yeah, it's frustrating because when you watch, you know, like all of these pundits, they're always like zooming into the map, right? And they're like, well, you know, there's only 15% of this big city's votes counted. And so there's going to be a lot more votes counted from this place. I'd love to be able to do that. But it's not looking like I can. So, but we're still going to get some good analysis going. So we reset this map, okay? And we got, where are we? See them up there? Yeah. Cool. And the tallies up here. So, Trump is leading. This map is a this is just a 2020 consensus map. So this was like before everything. Right now we're running through pretty much, this is the current map. That's the current one. Yeah, so, and on this one, I don't think I can change it. I can just zoom in, but I can't get any details in terms of like these individual counties, which is what I want. And so what we're doing here with this one is we are disappearing from the screen. Okay. Is that my map? That's my map. Okay. Cool. So North Carolina's it's leaning red, right? Georgia's leaning red. Florida called, right? Ohio's leaning red, but again, this is 270 to win, Kendall, and this is, let's see here, where are we? This is Google. So here's where it gets interesting, because here's how Trump wins. I mean, we won't even give him Minnesota because Minnesota's blue. Let's say he takes Iowa. That's how Trump wins. This is blue. So, and then, but see, interestingly, okay, yeah, Maine's turned back to blue. So where are the? Yeah, okay. Now, if this goes, these are still gonna, okay. It doesn't matter if it's like leaning or red. This still stays up at that number. This is how Trump wins, right? And so what Biden was hoping to do, that's one thing. That's one thing that got messed up, right? Tito, thank you, man. Thank you for subscribing. Harto, thank you for subscribing. Appreciate it, guys. Now, so this is red. and that's also with Pennsylvania blue. See, this is where this is pretty much all Trump can hope for. Let's put Nebraska over there for him as well. That's pretty much what he can hope for. And we just have to wait and see, because this could happen. Right? Stop. Doesn't matter what shade of blue it is. That could happen. That could happen. Right? And then already, boom, there it is. Let's see, does Pennsylvania, and see, this is why people were talking about Pennsylvania. This is why. Now let's see. Okay, under this scenario, okay, so it does matter, the shade. Yeah, here we go. Okay, cool. Kind of, not really? Okay. This is at 90. Turn all these. Give them to Joe. Yeah, no, it's staying at 290. Okay. So this is Joe Biden's path to victory. Let's see. He could lose Nevada. He could even lose Wisconsin. Right? He needs to hold on to Wisconsin, because right now he's and already, boom, he's starting to close the gap in Wisconsin. Yep. Okay. Donald Trump here. Let's refresh this other page. This is gonna be it's gonna be so fascinating to watch. So in Wisconsin now, he's only down 120,000 votes. Trying to close Michigan. Looking like Michigan might, how many? Only, you guys, only 54% are reporting. Michigan is still a huge toss-up. They have it red. This other one has it red. The Google map. There it is. Okay. So this has Wisconsin. Let's take a look at this. Look, check us out. Look how close that is. And there's still 23% of the votes that haven't been tallied yet. And it looks like he's kind of closing. So Michigan's only got 50. Did that say 55%? 55% reporting. And he's 300,000 down. Wisconsin, 77%. Okay. Yeah, okay, so these ones were. So they're calling it. Okay, they're calling Minnesota for Joe. Okay. I wonder how new that was. Did I just miss that earlier? I don't think so. Maybe. What's your question, man? Yeah, fair. I've been saying the same thing. I think you make a good point. And JJ, I know you think it's leaning big time, but man, there's a ton of ballots. Ton of ballots, man. Yeah. Ton of ballots that haven't been counted. So let's take a look at this. Let's go back here. Yeah, I can't. Here we go. Ah. Okay. So on this guy, take a look. So say we go by JJ's example. He doesn't think Trump will lose Michigan. Maybe Wisconsin. We'll say he does lose Wisconsin. Actually, yeah, we'll say he loses Wisconsin just for the time being. They'll switch it over. So how would Biden need to make up with that where we are right now? Well, then it all comes down to Nevada. Whoa, whoa, right? And that's also with Pennsylvania going to Biden. Do I think rioting is going to happen? I earlier this morning I was way more on the side of there will be small pockets of violence from Trump supporters who, which we did, we already saw that, like them trying to suppress votes. Um, there's been some fighting, like sporadic fighting. Um, I was hoping for such a defeat, such a sound defeat by Joe Biden that Donald Trump couldn't even dispute, uh, you know, his Joe Biden's victory. That hasn't happened, and so what my worst fears kind of, I think, not my worst fears, but it's just we've entered a situation where it is now easier for Donald Trump to um, claim that there's some sort of deep state cabal against him, and that he needs to declare victory now, and that we can't count any more ballots. And that's when I'm afraid. I don't think it's necessarily going to be violence, like against like people to people. I mean, like fighting, like out in public. I think it's going to be like I'm hoping that people don't try to like harm people in the voting, um people who are counting these ballots, um because that would be just terrible. That would be tragic. I mean, these people are like the best among us, these like Americans who sacrifice their time, especially during the middle of a pandemic, when they're like, a lot of these people stepped up, a lot of these like middle-aged people stepped up to do it, because older people who tend to be those um the volunteers, they couldn't do it. They couldn't be around people. Um, so I'm hoping I'm hoping the best for those people in those volunteers who are going to have to work tomorrow, who have to do this. And I'm hoping that Donald Trump doesn't sink to that low of a level where he'll throw our entire democracy into question, and a lot of his supporters will start to you know become violent, because no one wants that. So Ohio's getting called red. Okay, let's check it out. What we got? Who's doing it? Who's doing the calling? Fox. Hmm. Hmm. Interesting. So, hmm. Yeah. New Hampshire, Biden. Ohio for Trump. Yep. It's called. Wow. So let's see if we go back to 2016 in Ohio. Wow. So Trump beat Clinton by 8 in Ohio, and he beat Biden by, it's going to look like, yeah, about the same thing. Hmm. Interesting. Okay, so Ohio's staying red over here. Yep, they are staying red. So, yeah, Farah, I think he'll do it. Yeah, he'll do it in a way that's kind of that, that typical Trump, like, no, I didn't exactly say to go, you know, cause riots, but you can't blame me for that. I'm just saying what's on people's minds. But yeah, Kendall, more social media wars. Do I think he was a good choice for president? Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I do. I mean, him or Bernie Sanders for me. Those are my dudes. Yeah, those are my guys. I've been a Bernie Sanders supporter since, geez, I mean, that was back during like the Obama administration. He was given speeches from the floor that were, that deserve to be listened to. He makes the just the best speeches from the floor of the Senate. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, sometimes I hate on people for opinion. I'm not going to say I'm like an angel or anything. But so how about that Tiger Woods? Daisy. He's not doing anything crazy. Okay, good. Oh man. All right. Let's see what else is going on. So apparently Fox and Decision Desk are the only outlets that have called Florida and Texas for Trump. And so again, there must be things that people aren't seeing because we got, and it must be in these counties. Yeah, we must be waiting on word from a few of these larger counties here. All right, let's check out what everybody else is talking about. Let's check in live with PBS.
Back to the Senate race in Virginia, too. But right now, let's go to John Yang in Wilmington, Delaware. Okay. John Yang, Wilmington, Delaware, and we're going to be hearing shortly, John, from the former vice president.
That's right. His motorcade is on its way. It's left his house. It's on its way here to the Chase Center. So he should be here in just a very few minutes. You know, it's funny, just as the guidance was coming out that the vice president was coming here to speak, I was actually speaking with a top official in the Biden campaign, telling me that they do not expect a definitive answer to this race tonight, as I had said before, saying that they do feel good about Arizona. They do believe that after all the votes are counted in Wisconsin and Michigan, those states will be in the Biden column. This official then said, and then Pennsylvania. And I said, and then Pennsylvania? And they said, and then Pennsylvania. So I think that they feel that it's a close race in Pennsylvania. Really. They're looking at it, but they feel...
Or they're like, Pennsylvania.
Good about it. But they do believe that there will not be an answer tonight. They feel that they are in good shape, and we'll see what the vice president has to say. They did say earlier on, as they were telling us about these nights to come, in the days leading up to tonight, rather, that the vice president would, if he did speak, would speak in reassuring tones, would speak in unifying tones, would speak in trying to urge calm and to counter anything that might be coming out of the White House. So we'll just have to see in the next few minutes what message Joe Biden does have for his supporters here who are gathered in their cars outside the Chase Center. It's like a drive-in theater, watching all these cars pull in and line up and turn and face the stage, like facing the screen at a drive-in theater. and see what also message he has for the American people. Judy?
It's the modern day version, or at least a 2020, 2021 version of American politics. John, we're going to come back to you as soon as the former vice president is ready to speak. I am seeing another report about Georgia also saying that it's not going to be able to call results tonight. So if that's the case, if that's accurate, then we've got Georgia, we've got Pennsylvania, and who knows where else he won't be able to call. Amna Nawaz, you are talking to a public media reporter.
I am, with one of the states we have been able to call so far. Judy, we're going to turn now to Karen Kassler. She's the State House Bureau Chief with Ohio Public Radio and TV. Karen, as you just heard, as we reported, the AP has called the state of Ohio for President Trump. He won it back in 2016, but as we're unpacking and understanding what is happening tonight, how did he do it this year?
Well, what he did apparently is he actually
increased
his vote count in Ohio from 2016. He won Ohio by 8.13 points in 2016.
Okay, we'll check back up on you. Back here. We need to update some stuff. Hooah! There we go. Now there we go. Okay, so here we go. All right, let's do some updating. So Iowa, wow. Disappointed in Iowa. Wow. Wow, Iowa. Wow. Okay. Oh, jeez. Iowa. Come on, guys. Oh, come on. What did Iowa do in... Damn, how is he holding these victories, Clinton? My goodness. He beat her by 10, though. Damn, he beat her 10 and 20. Again, though, you would think that a guy denying science, having 230,000 people die on his watch, and, like, being just an utterly inept racist would change people's minds, but I guess not. All right, I guess not. I guess not. I guess not. Okay. So, oh yeah, we still gotta wait and see. I think a lot of people are they're looking forward to getting the mail-in ballots counted tomorrow. But we'll see. So they were just talking about how Pennsylvania, we're not going to get an answer tonight. Georgia, we're not going to get an answer tonight. I doubt we'll get an answer from Wisconsin or Michigan, because take a look over here at the... Let's see. I think both Wisconsin and Minnesota had close to like 80% reporting. Yeah. And Michigan is still at 57%, and Michigan is still pretty close. Still about 300,000 votes stand in between Trump and Joe Biden. Wisconsin is now getting closer. Joe Biden has closed the gap to only 100,000 votes. 120,000 votes. So okay. We are going to go to Joe Biden speaking. Let's see if I can bring him up here. I'd love to know where you guys are from while I'm bringing this up.
I mean, like, she could recite to you every library address in every county of every state. This is someone who is very close to her state. She is very confident about what the results will be in Minnesota, and I believe in Amy.
In terms of what we are expecting to hear over these next few days there, talk to me about the mental health of Democrats. While in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania results remain outstanding over a couple of days. That's what happens. And it might not be those states. It might be Georgia. It might be Florida. It might be some other things. But talk to me about how Democrats and Republicans might approach that kind of delay differently. I'm watching as Joe Biden's motorcade arrives for his.
All right, so we got Joe Biden. Oh my goodness, that's so loud. Sorry, guys. Woo! Loud in my own ears. My goodness. Oh yeah. Oh right. So we are gonna. Yeah, boom again. Yeah, everybody's saying the same thing I am. Everybody's watching those Midwest states. And we're gonna see if there's an actual red mirage that's gonna fade away or not. We're going to see. Joe Biden. That's right, Nazmul. UAE, nice. Welcome to the stream. Candles from across the pond. Kids is from NC. Nice, nice. Nice, MG. Honesty. Yep. Do I think LGBT rights? I think they're absolutely, absolutely. Like there's really what am I? It's the reason I hesitated is because I'm only thinking about not only are you is that community going to lose rights, but their struggle to just be looked at as equal, it's just gonna get tougher. The hill that they have to climb is going to grow steeper, and that's something that will happen for all minority communities, and that's the problem. That's the frustrating thing about watching the GOP and Donald Trump have like an inkling of, oh my god, like you guys might stay in power, right? Like, oh man, like this is gonna be really hard. Another 4 years is going to be really hard for a lot of people. So, okay, Trump in Nevada. Well, Clinton won Nevada by 2 percentage points. The last Republican to win Nevada was Bush in 2004. Nevada's a different place than it was in 2004. Let's see, where are we with the live interactive map? Nevada. Wait, was that Farah? Do you think he's currently leading? Yeah, Farah. Okay, so they've got 2% of the ballots counted, and so let's see. Actually, let's zoom in. Okay, cool. They're pretty much in like very rural areas. Like check this place out. This is here we go. Here I'm gonna slide this while Joe Biden's getting ready to talk. I'm just gonna slide this over here for Farah so we can take a look at Nevada. So if we zoom out, we'll see here Nevada has 2% counted. Has that gone up at all? No, 2%. And Donald Trump's got a 17,000 vote lead. But if we zoom in, look where those votes are coming from. This is a very, very rural state, meaning the same amount of, I bet that the number of people who live here in Las Vegas, I would probably say 10 times as many people live here as they do in the entire state. I am from here in San Diego, so I've driven through Nevada plenty of times. Ain't nothing out here. This is sand. this is like desert. Yeah, it ain't nothing out here. This is the hot desert. So we're getting a lot of votes in Nevada early from very rural places. This is where it's all going to come down to with Nevada. So it's looking like Nevada's going to stay blue. If I don't think Donald Trump is going to flip any states from 2016. And that's, I think, his biggest weakness. Because, yeah, I mean, if we go back to that...
Private equity continues investing in small businesses.
What?
Even when times are tough.
Who is talking?
American workers are the best investors.
That's the worst, guys. Oh, the Hill. That you would do pop-up video ads, you. Hey, Z, good to see you again. I'm just going back through comments, and I'm just having a hard time with kids' comments about her relationship with her girlfriend. Like I don't know. Right? That's the frustrating thing. I don't know what's gonna happen to your relationship. I would have a much better answer for you if Joe Biden won. Right? Ah, man. Sorry, kids, you got me a little. Woo. Okay, so where were we? Oh, there's Joe. Joe's talking. What's up, Joe? Talk to me, baby.
But it may take a little longer, as I've said all along.
Here, Joe, let's listen to him from the beginning. Where are you?
Call 2, and here they come. One of them is the state of Iowa. Joni Ernst will hold on to that state.
Joe Biden's speech is going to come up just
it is a
couple
hold
seconds,
for the
guys.
Republicans. This is Joni Ernst seeking her second term in the United States Senate. She was challenged by Democrat Teresa Greenfield. And this is a big victory. The Republicans were sweating that one out. New Mexico, this is a hold for the Democrats. Ben Ray Lujan, who's a member of Congress, is holding on to but it.
There we go.
Patience is commendable. We knew this was going to go wrong, but who knew we're going to go into maybe tomorrow morning, maybe even longer. But look, we feel good about where we are. We really do.
You guys hear that?
I'm here to tell you tonight, we believe we're on track to win this election. We knew because of the unprecedented early vote and the mail-in vote that it's going to take a while. We're going to have to be patient until the hard work of tallying the votes is finished. And it ain't over till every vote is counted. Every ballot is counted. But we're feeling good. We're feeling good about where we are. We believe one of the nets has suggested we've already won Arizona, but we're confident about Arizona. That's a turnaround. We also just called it for Minnesota, and we're still in the game in Georgia, although that's not one we expected. And we're feeling real good about Wisconsin and Michigan. And by the way, it's going to take time to count the votes. We're going to win Pennsylvania. I've been talking to folks in Philly, Allegheny County, Scranton, and they're really encouraged by the turnout and what they see. Look, you know, we can know the results as early as tomorrow morning, but it may take a little longer. As I've said all along, it's not my place or Donald Trump's place to declare who's won this election. That's the decision of the American people. but I'm optimistic about this outcome. And I want to thank every one of you who came out and voted in this election. And by the way, Chris Coons and the Democrats, congratulations here in Delaware. Pardon? Hey, John, the Gov, yeah, the whole team, man. You've done a great job. I'm grateful to the poll workers, to
Jill
our volunteers,
Biden.
our canvassers.
God love her, as
everyone
Joe
who
would say.
participated in this
God
democratic
love her.
process. And I'm grateful
What
to
an amazing
all
woman.
my supporters here in Delaware and all across the nation. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And folks, you heard me say it before. Every time I walk out of my grandpa's house up in Scranton, he'd yell, "Joey, keep the faith." And my grandma, when she was alive, yelled, "No, Joey, spread it." Keep the faith, guys. We're going to win this. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Your patience is great. Let's walk over here.
Joe Biden.
Let's walk over
Jill
here.
Biden coming out on a chilling.
Let's walk over here. I love it. Oh, I love it. Ah, Joey, come on, baby. Pull it out. Pull it out. Rep. I have no idea how the Senate races are looking, man. Okay, let's do that. Let's get into the Senate races. Let's get into the nitty-gritty. Here, let's get an update. See. Okay, nothing really worth updating since the Trump Iowa win. Yeah, now I need to get down. Where are you? Sure. Yeah. So essentially those two houses serve as like checks and balances on each other, right? So if, for example, well, I'll use the example of his impeachment. We have a lower house, which is the House of Representatives, and then we have the upper house, which is the Senate, and then we have the executive, the presidency. The lower house was in control of Democrats. They found the executive to be in violation of his oath of office and voted to impeach him. And the upper house needed to vote to remove him. And so you have these really fascinating kind of like interactions between these three government entities, but they're pretty much all designed to go back to check. At least the lower two are designed to go and check the single man, right? The king, if you will, right? Because of the history with us and England, right? So it's important for, if you want real legislating to happen, it's really important for a party to win the White House, the presidency, the Senate, which is the upper house, and Congress, which is the lower house, the House of Representatives. That way, it's pretty much like a beeline to legislation passing, if legislation being enacted, if those three lower, upper, and the presidency are all on the same page. And the perfect example of that, the latest example of that, would be Barack Obama and the Affordable Care Act in the early stages of Barack Obama's presidency. It was 2009, because in 2010 he lost control of the House of Representatives. He was able to pass the Affordable Care Act because the Democrats had control of the lower house, the upper house, and the presidency. So it just gives you kind of an idea of how if people come out overwhelmingly for a candidate or a party and their positions, then those positions have a decent shot of becoming law, and vice versa. If there's a divided government where people aren't really seeing eye to eye on things, and we have such a strong executive branch in this country that that if that executive is maybe taking his power, and abusing it, then he has checks on him, and that's the will of the people who are clearly divided on a president, right? If a president says, I'm going to go, I'm going to go build a border wall, and there's a ton of people who are like, wait, what? Like, no, right? If there's a president who runs on racism and misogyny and this stuff, and he doesn't get the votes needed to capture all the houses, then he has a house, or capture all of the, the lower and upper house, then he has a problem, right? And so it's really important for the president to capture Congress and the House of Representatives and okay. So Z, longtime subscriber, what's up, man? Good to have you back. Senate. Let's get into it. Let's find these Senate races. Wow. Hear what? Oh.
And in Michigan and in Pennsylvania, where only a small fraction of the vote is in. So the vote has not been counted. Nobody is stealing anything. But this has been a theme for Donald Trump. He has been invoking the idea that the election would be stolen for months and months. And
rigged election was something we heard consistently on the campaign trail.
Really, it was something he said in 2016 as well. It's usually not something that you hear a candidate who thinks they're going to win say, by the way. And I think this is an election, when you look at where the states are right now, I think this is an election that can go either way. I mean, when you look, Donald Trump could knock down that blue wall yet again. He could not. Georgia is still in play. Arizona, we didn't call Arizona, Ram, until November 10th. 4 years ago. It was two days after the election.
What year?
2016.
No, I'm joking.
Exactly. So it takes time, and this is a really close election, and it's really close in so many of those key states, and it's an election that took place during a pandemic where we have had a massive increase in mail-in voting, which takes longer to process.
Chris Christie, what's the end game here?
Listen, I think the president,
exactly.
This is a guess now. I haven't spoken to him. My guess is that the president felt like he was being restrained tonight by not going out and speaking. His instinct would be to want to go out earlier. He sees Biden go out there and lean in. We think we're going to win this thing.
Feel good about where we are, on track to win the election.
Right. So
I honestly could not give two fucks about what Chris Christie has to say. Sorry, guys. I'm just whatever. Chris Christie, dude. Go to a super spreader event, man. Okay, so here we go. Bringing up I have to do a little adjustment on this thing. Get dirty. Get dirty. Yeah. Oh yeah. All right. Okay. So, not all states have Senate seats up for election. We have quite a few. Now, let's try to find some interesting ones that people were looking at. Yeah, Cornyn pulled this out. Oh, man. John Cornyn. He's a senator who comes up and speaks after Mitch McConnell does. I'd say like 2/3 of the time. And, well, he's not a good person. Anyway, Jim Inhofe, Oklahoma. Yeah, I mean we're in the red here, right? So Tom Cotton. Yeah. Okay. This is a disappointment. That's a disappointment right there. Fucky, man. Damn, Mitch McConnell, man, just riding those Trump coattails. Oh boy. All right, Reptile Z, bro. If you in the house, let me know. We'll go back to getting in on the Senate. All right. Okay, let's see if we have any news. Oh, Donald Trump's on Twitter, y'all. Trump is on Twitter complaining. Oh, you guys follow me on Twitter. This is me. Let's see. Brendan Plank at Brendan Plank. Hold on, I need to tell you guys my Twitter handle. Ooh, Ben Rhodes. Ben Rhodes, Barack Obama's national security advisor, saying, which, guys, trust me, I got the peeps to follow on twits. On the twits. All right, let's. All right, where are we? One sec, guys. I have to deal with YouTube's monetization bullshit. Ugh. Oh, YouTube. Oh, YouTube. Oh, the tubes. Okay, so let's look. I tried following Donald Trump for like, I think I was maybe following him for like maybe 3 weeks, and then I just couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't. Like, every day I'd wake up and he's just like, his tweets would just like fill my Twitter page, and I'm like, you dude, like, bro, you're that guy, man. You're that guy, dude. You're that guy who's like, maybe you should not be doing what you're doing. Okay. All right, let's go see Donald Trump complain about cheating. Stupid dance. Oh God. I want to like turn that into a video of like Donald Trump doing that stupid little dance, and then the Sparta guy just kicking that tub of lard down the hole. Donald Trump says, I will be making a statement tonight. A big win. There he goes. So it started. Oh shit. Some or all of this tweet is disputed and might be misleading about an election or other civic processes. We are up big, but they are trying to steal the election. We will never let them do it. Votes cannot be cast after the polls are closed. There it is, guys. There it is. What everybody was afraid of. Oh, God. Don, man, this is what I told you not to do, dude. This is how people are going to get hurt, you guys. This is how they're going to get hurt. Because people in Pennsylvania, Michigan. They're going to be like, they're counting votes. They're counting votes after the deadline. I got to stop it or else communism's going to destroy this country. And they're going to go hurt somebody. Like, they're going to hurt somebody, Dawn. And the fact that Twitter has to, like, flag your tweet. Come on, Dawn. I love how Twitter puts this right below it. Let's see where this takes us. Learn about U.S. 2020 election security efforts. Civic integrity policy. You know Donald Trump didn't read this. Or I don't think he understands what integrity means. Yosemite. I live in California, so Yosemite is had like a big influence on me as like a kid, and so hearing him Yosemite, yeah. Cool. Okay, so it looks like Donald Trump is going to talk. Okay. Oh, Jesus. He's back in the White House. It's 1 a.m. It's 1 a.m. Is it 1 a.m. or is it midnight in D.C.? Either way. Man, Donald Trump, man. You need to get some rest, dude. Oof. Oh, boy. Okay. All right, let's check back in, see what anybody's got to say. Do we have any news updates? Okay, here we go. We got 3 minutes ago, the Associated Press is reporting that Ben Ray Lujan has won the open Senate seat in New Mexico. All right. There we go. So, Dawn, baby. Oh my goodness. I really want to hear what Donald has to say. What are you? Oof. Hang in there, Zachariah. Hang in there, buddy.
Also following the results with us tonight are national political reporters Erin Haynes. She's editor-at-large of the 19th. It's a new nonprofit digital outlet.
Amen, Adam.
Women and politics.
Jesus.
And Robert Costa of the Washington Post and host of PBS's Washington Week. So Bob Costa, to you first. Talking to the campaigns, what are they saying to you?
This young, handsome,
it looks like we are not going to know the results
streamer
of this election tonight, and maybe
a big
not
Jesus
even
freak.
But the stakes for tomorrow, Judy, they're already being set. We just witnessed a significant moment in this election when Vice President Biden took the stage and said that his campaign, his candidacy, in his view, is well positioned for victory.
Oh, shit, I'm sorry, guys.
He is saying that the early vote in places like Wisconsin, in Georgia, and Pennsylvania will be enough to push him over the top. This is setting up a potential political war in this political culture in our country, because President Trump, based on my reporting, will now declare himself to be well positioned for victory. And it's going to be an inch by inch fight in the coming days about the legitimacy of the vote from the Trump side and about voter suppression and making sure all votes are counted from the Democratic side. A critical moment for American democracy as this election hangs in the balance.
Well, a critical moment for American democracy, but I'm going to ask a very simple question, Bob Costa. Why isn't it possible for the campaigns to wait for every vote to be counted and to respect the results?
It's a revealing moment on character and how campaigns see their strategy. In past presidential cycles, we saw this in 2000. We saw it in previous cycles where the vote was not always clear by 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. Some campaigns have stayed quiet. Vice President Biden made the decision to get out in front of a crowd and make assertions about where he stands in the race. President Trump has chosen to tweet so far tonight and say that he fears the election could be stolen. This is where we are. This is where the election is. It's their decision. And the Biden campaign, I'm told by one Democrat, feels like it needs to get ahead of President Trump before he starts to frame the election and his possible defeat as illegitimate.
Aaron Haynes, we are heading, I mean, if in the description that Bob Costa just laid out, for a fraught hours to come, possibly days to come, in this campaign that could very well affect and will affect the outcome of this election.
You're absolutely right, Judy. I mean, look, it is Wednesday, right? We're already into the next day after Election Day without a result, which is something that we, frankly, a lot of us in the media tried to prepare the American people for the possibility of this outcome. And this is where we are. You know, voters.
Aaron, I'm going to interrupt real quick.
Yeah,
we do have a call to make. It's a state that President Trump won last time, but right now the AP is declaring that Donald Trump will again win in the state of Texas. There was a lot of effort made, has been a lot of effort made by the Democrats. Not a state that they felt was a must-win, but one that they would have loved and would have certainly considered a prize. But as you see, with 81% of the expected vote in, the AP is comfortable and with all the other information they have in declaring Donald Trump will win the state of Texas, and it's 38 electoral votes.
Trump won that state by
big
10
electoral
points.
Vote prize for the president. Aaron, I'm sorry.
He won that by 10 points. Okay, if we're going to go call Texas, Aaron, we'll come back to you, girl. All right, let's see. Where's that map? Come on. Oh, it was right there. Look at that. Look, there's the Senate. Sorry, Reptile Z. Come on. Okay. So, now we got Texas is red, which doesn't change much, right? Because, again, all eyes are on the upper Midwest. That's where we're at here. Amen, Adam. Amen. Jesus. Having fun with you, Adam, man. You're on the wrong channel, bro. you're on the wrong channel. Okay. Texas, huh? Texas. It's called. It's done for. 81% reporting. Now let's go and check when Texas will. What? Damn, the Hill is not the best, but they did have the easy resource for finding out when states count their absentee ballots. Okay, here we go. Let's take a look at. Okay, vote in Texas. Vote by mail ballots will begin being counted once polls open on Election Day. In counties consisting of a population with 100,000 or more, ballots can be counted following the end of the in-person early voting period on October 30th. Okay, cool. So in heavily populated areas, their count is like already on. That's why 81% have already been reported, and we're talking about like over 10 million votes, right? So those workers down in Texas have had a lot on their hands. A lot on their hands. Adam, bro, just because I'm not a, a, a fan of any one organized religion doesn't mean I'm like the devil. What? Oh man. Okay, so here we go. All right, what are we looking at? Texas. Now, how much did he beat him by? That's interesting, right? Because in 2016, Trump, he beat Hillary Clinton by 10 points. That's not 10 points. That's not 10 points. And that's just going to close. Maybe. It might go up. It might go up to 8. But 6 is definitely not 10. And that could be the difference. That could be the difference in places like Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. It's going to be fascinating. It's going to be fascinating to watch. Look, yeah, it is fascinating. It is fascinating how red America is. And look, like, I mean, I'm in California, y'all, right? I mean, I don't know if you can tell by the blonde hair, wine drinking, super liberal Drake. What's up, man? You know, I don't know if you guys could tell that, but I'm at the point where doing the political analysis that I've been doing for 13 years, like, I was really lucky to have the end of George Bush really spur me on to get into politics, and then Barack Obama kind of usher me through the beginning of my political career. This is a whole other storm, guys. This is like I don't. Yeah, if Trump wins, which again, not like, let's be real here. It's still a huge toss up. If Trump wins, will I stay in the United States? I don't know. See, that's a good question. That's such a good question. Because look, will I physically stay in the well, what I'm saying is, either I move and kids takes me in and shares her basement with me in England, or California just straight up we just leave. We're just like, oh yeah, like you want us to give our kids and our wives their rights away to like you morons in Texas and Florida? Like, yeah, okay. When we're like one of the largest economies in the world, like, why would we do that? And so here's the thing, man. Like, you go back to Abraham Lincoln, like he wanted to hold the Union together as a humanitarian, and also as the leader of that nation. If you don't have a leader like him, and you're actually rebelling against a treasonous, unpatriotic leader, it's a different story. You know, different story. So yeah, I don't. Yeah, exactly, Kendall. Cal exit. It's gonna kind of become a thing. Let's just say that. And God damn it, I'm gonna make it become a thing if I can. Like, cause look, like the past 4 years, like my parents have been so anxious over the past 4 years. I know people in pretty much in every walk of life who have just become more anxious because that piece of wasted space has decided that he wanted to have power. And look, man, like, you don't, like, we're California, man. Like, you don't. And this is kind of another reason why, look, like, I've had a lot of, like, people who have commented saying things like, oh man, like, I feel like you're a little elitist, right? That was actually like I was reading a comment thread between one commenter and a couple of my longtime subscribers who were saying like, wait, what? Like, what are you talking about? What, like, can you kind of like give us some context? Why are you calling Brendan elitist? Like, look, like, I get it. Like, I get why you can think I'm elitist. One thing, I'm a huge guy. I'm like 6'2". I've always been like the biggest person, right? Like, whatever. But I also come from California, man. Like, I come from a place that is so beautiful and so diverse and so opening and caring and loving to everyone, all walks of life, that the type of bullshit and nonsense that like our Senate and our Congress and the executive branch, like this election is just like, it's like, it's obvious to me and obvious to you guys, like, who should be voting for, and you know that we should all be making laws that are compassionate and compassionate for everyone, all walks of life. And yet we get these people who I don't know. I don't know how to get into their heads and how to like explain why they need to feel control over them. But what I can say without, because I'm about to like get super emotional here, right? So without getting that, without going to that extent, like, I'm from California. Like, we don't accept hate and intolerance here. So if the rest of this country, if the red states, if they want that to be their agenda, then I'm okay with my state saying, you know what, we're good. That's not us. You can take your military bases. You can take your move, go. I don't care. Like, we don't need military bases. We don't need this stuff. All right. Drake, you're absolutely right. You feel like Trump had to win in order to avoid the law. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Let's check in on
could happen.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you know, with Florida and Texas coming in, you know, late into the evening, that has certainly boosted
Hold on, man. See, David. Bro, hey, David, where are you? Let's have a conversation, David. Where are you from, man? Where are you from, David? Dawn, thank you for subscribing. Welcome. Let's see if David even wants to back his. Because again, David, let me remind you, man, I'm 6'2", like 225 pounds, brother. So the whole I'm going to call you a sissy is Like, dude, just because I'm on the internet, man, like, you can't really see the stack that is built behind me, homie. Like, let's just, you kind of need to just relax there. And again, you're gone, because who's the sissy who comes into a live stream and taunts people and then runs away? That's David Niegman for you. Anyway, back to PBS.
President Trump's numbers and kind of narrowed the score between he and Vice President Biden in the Electoral College. And it is kind of those big outstanding prizes, places like Pennsylvania, like Wisconsin, like Michigan, much like 2016. It is coming down to kind of that same handful of states that we are still waiting to get the results on. And so, letting this process play out, the idea election day is about one person, one vote. And so, letting that process play out is something that we knew was probably going to take beyond Tuesday. And that is exactly the moment in which we now find ourselves. And so, I do think that letting this be about the American people now. I mean, they have cast their ballots, and I think we're kind of in the psychological phase of this election now in terms of the candidates trying to frame this, in the ways that frankly, they have been framing it. Joe Biden was saying, let's let the process play out, even as President Trump was saying, that this election is potentially rigged and Democrats could be trying to steal it from me. And so I think that we're exactly where we expected to be in this phase of the election. And, we'll just have to keep the same patience that so many voters had throughout this process to see what happens on the other side.
Well, it's certainly our intention here at the NewsHour at PBS to be patient and to wait until each one of these states is called and to cover what the candidates themselves.
I did not think we would be here. God damn it. I honestly thought that America would just largely reject Donald Trump, and yet here we are, guys. Here we are, man. Wow. How? Oy. Hang in there. Let's hang in there. Hey, Charlie, thank you for the follow. Familiar presence. Justin Trump wins. Good night. Oh, I bet you wish that was the case. I am talking to some Twitch peeps. All right, let's figure out what where are we? Let's check in on.
Processed here. State law allowed them to process them early. All they were supposed to be able to do today is the ones processed, just click a button and it gives you the vote count. But still, even with that in place, they still have come up with some issues tonight. Two biggest counties here now will not have results tonight, George.
And if you don't know the answer to this, that's fine, but I have to ask it anyway. Are they giving you any estimate of when they believe?
You guys think I look like George Stephanopoulos?
Votes counted?
No, at this point, they absolutely do not know, because the estimates and again, we're getting different answers from the Secretary of State's office versus the county officials. And a good reminder as well, it's the Secretary of State's office that's in charge of all, of course, elections for states, but the county officials are running these local elections, and it's their responsibility to get these votes counted, to get these ballots processed, and to get those results in. We just do not know, George.
TJ Holmes, thanks very much. Okay, let's take a look at North Carolina now. That is still out there. 95% of the expected vote is in. Donald Trump leading by just under 100,000 votes, Tom.
Yeah, no, it is incredibly tight right now in North Carolina. And similar to the story in
here we go.
In Atlanta, will there be enough votes for Joe Biden?
I'm pretty sure everybody's asleep
like Charlotte and
on the East Coast.
As we see right now, 5%
all these poll workers, all the counters.
Mecklenburg, the biggest county right there. And Joe Biden has been overperforming, just like he has in Raleigh as well. He's at 62% right now with 94% in. He's overperforming in this city as well. This begs a question, though, George, because what we're seeing in North Carolina, we saw in Ohio, and we saw in Texas as well. Joe Biden is doing better in the urban areas. He's overperforming there. But Donald Trump is keeping up, or he's doing better himself. So it begs the question, did President Trump grow his base as well in the rural areas of some of these states?
I want to go to Byron Pitts, but first, John Carl, we saw that happen in Texas.
We did. This is an astounding fact, George. Texas, which has counted 93% of the expected vote, Donald Trump got 1 million more votes than he got in 2016. 1 million more Trump voters.
So more Democrats voted, but...
Yeah, and by the way, Biden got about 1 million more than Hillary Clinton. But the fact that Donald Trump was able to find 1 million more people to turn out to vote for him in the state of Texas is quite astounding. And you saw it in places in North Carolina. One, you talked about Robeson County in North Carolina. This is near Fayetteville. This is a county that he won narrowly, not only with a bigger margin this time, it looks like, but with considerably more votes. He's turning out people who did not vote for him last time.
First-time voters for Donald Trump. Let's go to Byron in Raleigh, North Carolina again. Let's walk through this, Byron. What do we know about what's still out there, when it's going to be counted?
Well, George, at this point, we know there are about 117,000 absentee ballots still to be counted, and that may take up to 9 days. And right now, President Trump is up by about 75,000 votes. So he won North Carolina by 175,000 votes 4 years ago. Yeah, okay. He has a 75,000 vote thereabout lead right now. So I think the Republican Party is feeling like it isn't over yet, but they can probably start putting the sweet tea on ice at this point. And George, I think anything can still happen. It feels like it's favoring President Trump at this hour. One of the early headlines, if things stay on the track is going right now, was that in North Carolina, the Democratic Party brought their wallet and the Republican Party brought their friends. That in this state, Democrats have outspent the Republican Party 2-1 in the Senate race by close to $10–15 million on TV and radio ads. When the pandemic hit North Carolina hard, the Democratic Party made the decision to shut down their ground game for the most part, and the Republican Party did the exact opposite. They doubled down, became much more aggressive in going door to door to their voters. And George, consider in North Carolina, evangelicals make up about 30% of the electorate here. They strongly support President Trump. And George, the last point I'd like to make, earlier conversations about race and how the role that played. Every 2 years, every 4 years, we talk about the New South, how it might emerge. And I think separating Georgia, but when you look at South Carolina, North Carolina, what we're seeing again, despite all this progress, that those two states are still pretty much the old South in many ways when it comes to national elections. Conservatives have gone hard for President Trump. Democrats, the voter turnout increased to about 74% statewide compared to 68% in 2016. And so while certainly Democrats were excited, Trump supporters were also excited, and they came out strong for their man.
Which is why we are still here right now, a split country, split election, not decided at 1:29 in the morning on Wednesday, November 4th. Cecilia Vega, what more do we know about the president? We've seen the tweet. Is he going to speak tonight? What is he doing? Is he still watching? What should we expect?
Well, I think we can expect it momentarily. It sounds like the group of reporters who are assigned to be in and cover the president in the White House press corps for the day has just been called to gather. So it sounds like we will be hearing from him soon. And we know that he is here.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Donald Trump at 2 in the morning.
And that he's been in close touch
Jesus.
with his team. But, George, I want to go back, if I may, to what Byron was just saying on the importance of the ground game, because President Trump just spoke about that recently in a very sort of bragging way. And this may be what really he has to pride himself on, his campaign, where in terms of where we are at this moment in the night. You know, the Trump campaign, they've been building this ground game for over 2 years now. Listen to some of these numbers that we've got. 2,000 paid field staffers in 17 states. They say they knocked on millions of doors a week.
Good night, Zachariah.
I've got to tell you, as Byron just said, when COVID hit, the Democrats stopped that because they said it wasn't healthy, and for the safety of their workers and their voters, they didn't want to have any door contact. The Trump
Exactly right.
campaign
You're not going to
kept
bed.
going,
Kids is going
and
to
they
bed. Good
knocked
night.
on doors
Good night,
in
kids.
states that mattered all across this country, and we very well may be seeing the fruits of that labor come out. And when it comes to rallying the base, this is something that the president has been heavily criticized on. Coming into this closing argument, he threw a lot of red meat over and over at the base, this law and order, very kind of dark themes heading into this, closing out this re-election campaign. And the campaign was criticized for that perhaps they weren't expanding the base enough to carry them across the finish line. And the campaign repeatedly said, wait until you see on Election Day, you will see we are bringing in new voters. And it looks like we are seeing that in some of these states coming in right now.
In some, a lot of states left to be counted. Cecilia Vega, thanks very much. We'll be right back.
George.
And their campaigns are saying at the same time. Robert Costa, Aaron Haynes, thank you both. And we will come back to you. I want to go now to our intrepid Miles O'Brien, our science reporter who follows all things complicated for the NewsHour. He's been at the Fulton County, Georgia vote counting place. Miles, Georgia is not a state that's called. There are a lot of votes still to be counted, and you're at one of the places where they are struggling to get it done.
Yes, Judy, and it is a bit of a struggle. You can see behind me, it's a busy place right now as they bring in all the electronic gear, which was deployed at over 250 precincts in Fulton County today for the voting today. But what's interesting about this, so there's a little nuance here that's important to point out. We've been talking about how early voting gives an advantage to getting results out sooner, but there's a little asterisk to all that. All those early voting scanners, all those ballots that were scanned in, cannot be tabulated until today by law in Georgia. And so there's a big backlog back behind me, a group of people who are going through the scanners that have been in the early voting locations over the past few weeks and are going through the process of tabulating and checking those balances, if you will, reconciling the poll tapes. Excuse me, Judy, because the forklift is coming through here. Come on through. You're on live on the NewsHour.
I'm on the NewsHour.
In any case, they
despite
the fact that
like,
they got a
bro,
leg
get
up
out of
on
my
the
way,
voting,
dude.
they weren't
I've
able
got
to do
like
the final
10,000
tally.
ballots
Now,
right
the other
here,
side
man.
of it, in here, in this case, is the mail-in ballots. They had a little problem this morning. Of all things, a pipe burst in the location where they were doing the tabulating, the scanning, and that has set them back on that. So they're not going to finish that up until tomorrow. Now, nearby, Gwinnett County, they had a huge problem with their software, which has delayed some of their ability to go through some of these mail-in ballots. So there's a lot of technical nuance to it, which is kind of coming home to roost at these final hours. And it's going to push the results for Fulton, DeKalb County, the blue center part of Georgia, into tomorrow. And that gives you an idea of why we're still unsure about a lot of votes and where things stand at this point.
It sure helps us understand, and also interesting what you're saying about the other side of the early vote, that it does present some challenges in terms of counting. But Miles, are they telling you they plan to just continue counting until they finish? Will they take a break tonight? What is their plan?
Hey,
I don't know if you
just
can
come
hear
in
me.
here for 1 sec, Judy. I apologize. I don't want to get clobbered.
You definitely don't want to
Here's
get
what they're
hit
going to do tonight. Here's what they're going to do tonight. They are going to finish all the early voting tabulation for sure tonight, no matter how long it takes. What they're going to do is they're going to count up to 100,000 mail-in ballots, and then they're going to quit and start over tomorrow. So it is going to rock on until tomorrow here. And that's why we don't have any conclusion as far as Georgia goes at this point. It's too close right now.
Too close. A lot of votes yet to count. And as I hear you saying, they're going to take a pause and then come back at it tomorrow morning. All right, Miles, stay safe. Stay away from that machine, whatever is that's going back and forth.
Judy
forklift.
Woodruff.
Thank you very
machine.
much. We can't lose you, Miles. All right, we're going to go to two of our wonderful analysts right now. Jeff Greenfield, who's joining us from California, Michael Beschloss, who's here in Washington. I think you're there. I don't see you yet, but I think you're there. Michael Beschloss, there you are. There you are. Just took a second.
These guys. Okay, we've heard from these guys earlier. Let's see what ABC's up to.
Vote
Back to
in
commercial.
that red state. Nate Silver, explain to everybody why this is important.
Cool. This is Nate Silver. I'll be right
So
back.
this is very important because if Joe Biden wins Arizona but loses Pennsylvania, he'd be at 269 electoral votes. He needs one more to break the tie, and that is one electoral vote. So if you look at our map here, showing what ABC News has called so far, before we projected Nebraska 2, we had Biden with a 69% chance of winning. If you add that to Biden's tally, he goes up by quite a bit here. It's going to recalculate for a second. But he goes up to 84%. It means that Arizona now,
for one congressional district, that is a pretty significant increase.
because it's that plus Arizona. I mean, maybe Biden's easiest path right now, he is ahead in Arizona. There's some question about how much more Election Day vote there is to be counted, but Arizona, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, then he doesn't have to worry about Pennsylvania. And that gives him a lot more options. And so those two together, we have not called Arizona yet, but Arizona plus Nebraska.
That's the simplest way to explain it, right? That Arizona plus Nebraska means you can sacrifice Pennsylvania and still have a path to 270.
Exactly.
And what more can we say? Can we pull up the popular vote right now? What more can we say about how what we're seeing tonight is tracking what we saw in the polls coming into tonight?
So there certainly seems to have been a miss in the polls, not as big a miss or as consequential as, well, actually, let me take that back. There may be a miss on the scale of 2016, but because Biden had a bigger lead, he can afford to have that miss. It's also more regionally driven. He's doing fine, for example, in New Hampshire, we think, and probably in Maine. Okay in like the suburban Midwest, like Omaha, where the district is. Maybe not very well, obviously, in Florida or Texas, where polls overrated him a bit. So we're going to have, I think, questions for pollsters. But you know, the reason to have a bigger lead is because things can go wrong, and you can wind up with quirky, frankly, ways to win like this.
Okay. There's a chime. We have another state to now project for Joe Biden, and it's going to be the state of Minnesota for Joe Biden. Joe Biden will win the state of Minnesota, and it's 10 electoral votes. It's good timing there. Picking up on what Nate was just saying, I want to bring this to John Carl. We know that President Trump had some hope in Minnesota. He spent a fair amount of time there, spent a fair amount of money there, because he wanted an insurance policy against a loss in Wisconsin or Michigan and Pennsylvania. It's not to be tonight. You combine that with Nebraska, and we're getting a much clearer picture of what each side has to do in these final hours.
Absolutely. I mean, he went there in the last week. He barely lost. Minnesota was the closest state that he could have flipped, and it's one of those blue wall states that he didn't get that he thought he had a chance. So now, you know, you're looking at a situation where he really has to pick off at least Pennsylvania and maybe Pennsylvania plus Michigan or Wisconsin, depending on what happens in Arizona.
Right, and Chris Christie, this goes back to something you were saying before. It's putting even more focus on that state of Pennsylvania pretty much now. If Joe Biden, assuming Rahm is right about Arizona, if Joe Biden wins the state of Pennsylvania, he's going to win this election.
Yes, the Rahm meter projection makes Pennsylvania. But listen, you and I have been talking about this since July. I have consistently thought that whoever wins Pennsylvania is going to be the next president of the United States, and I think it's shaping up that way. Now, you know, I do think that there's continued encouragement for the president in Wisconsin. And I think he is going to win. I'm going to have the Christie meter. I think he's going to win North Carolina to match up with you on your Arizona prediction and make myself +4. So you're looking at really Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan that I think are still the ones that we have to watch very carefully.
And we're still waiting for Arizona, waiting for Nevada.
And by the way, George, one other thing. I always like to pick out who the biggest loser of the night is. And so far, I think it's Mike Bloomberg. This is a guy who, like, decided to get into this race, thought he was going to be a factor, spent a fortune, was a blip in the Democratic primary.
Talk about driving out of your lane to hit the guy.
And now he spends $100 million in Florida, and you know Trump's margin is bigger than it was before. So I think anybody who's looking for spare change, go to Mike Bloomberg. He's apparently giving it away for nothing.
Because what is it about Florida? Democrats always seem to be lured down to that state, and it never comes through at the end.
You know, I think the changing demographics, we expect it to look more like what we're seeing in Arizona and Florida. I mean, Arizona and Texas, and it's just not trending that way when you think about black and brown voters, in part because of the heavy conservative vote among Latino voters down there, the growing number of conservative seniors who are moving down and retiring there. I know Biden got a lot more of those than before, but we're just not seeing the trend lines demographically shifting with the party the way we're seeing in places like Arizona and Texas, unfortunately.
Victor Kendo, you're in Miami.
That's right, George. And one Democratic data analyst that we spoke with called what happened in Miami-Dade County a total collapse. And there are some other problems here for Democrats. There's 2 Democratic House seats that were considered safe in this election. Well, not so much anymore. And one of those belonged to Donna Shalala. And speaking to all the money spent on those television ads, well, they were brutal, just relentless. President Trump hammering Joe Biden, labeling him as a socialist. Well, Republicans only spent, according to the latest numbers that we've seen, about $80 million on those ads, while Democrats spent closer to $130 million, and those ads for Republicans really seem to resonate with those Latino groups, not just Cuban Americans, but it's clear that they also reach the Nicaraguans, the Venezuelans, the Colombians. All of those groups seem to turn out for President Trump in this election, not the way the Democrats wanted this one to go. George?
Somewhat different from the way it's playing in Arizona. But David, what do we see in the exit polls about the role race is playing in this election?
Well, if you look at, let's take a look at the question of Minnesota racism in the U.S. It's interesting if you look here, and given the George Floyd and so much coverage of it this year and this, much needed conversation in this country, only 8% of the people, according to the exit polls, said that that is the most important problem. Of course, we are dealing with the pandemic and the economy, and so there are a lot of things that have also shared the news cycle these last few months. 61%, though, who thought that racism is the most important problem to address went with Joe Biden. If you look in Minnesota, the job performance, he was hoping to pick up the state, but 52% said they disapproved of Donald Trump. And again, that whole debate over containing COVID or rebuilding the economy, this was also a state where well more than 50% said we have to get a handle on the pandemic first.
Lindsay Davis?
Yeah, I think that what remains to be seen, with the exception of Minnesota, which we just projected, but how the racial politics are playing out, in particular in these flashpoint areas where we saw the majority of the protests and the unrest over the summer during this so-called racial reckoning in areas like Philadelphia, where we just had the police shooting of Walter Wallace, in Minneapolis with George Floyd, in Atlanta with Rayshard Brooks, and also in Kenosha with Jacob Blake. How is that all going to shake out? 3 of those 4 states still outstanding.
Matthew, this may have been the subtext of campaigns now going back to, of course, Barack Obama's first win in 2008. We're seeing it play out in different ways every 4 years.
Yeah, and as I said, it's a shifting electoral college, and I'm very interested in seeing what the national popular vote margin ends up, because that's going to tell me a lot. My guess is what we're seeing across all the states, with the huge exception of Florida, which I think at some point the Democrats have to just say, we're never doing that again. That's it. We're done. We'll concentrate somewhere else. Is there's about a 3 or 4 point shift towards Biden in every place, percentage-wise, in every place but Florida, Maine, New Hampshire, Arizona, Minnesota, all of Texas, all of these places you're having a 3 or 4 point shift. And my guess is that is exactly what the national popular vote ends up, that there was a 3 or 4 point shift, and it gave Joe Biden we'll see, a bare win in the Electoral College, and that's why everything broke the way it did.
Thank you, Matt. Byron Pitts, I know you want to weigh in on this.
Yeah, George, this issue of how the George Floyd dynamic play, I'm thinking of the famous New York Broadway play, A Bronx Tale. Would you rather be loved or feared, right? What we saw with President Obama, there was so much pride and love for his candidacy in 2008. Black voters came out in large numbers. We're not seeing that this time in the South. We were at an evangelical Christian church on Sunday. Good and decent people. But when we talked about the issue of the racial divide, almost silence. They didn't have much to say about that conversation. They didn't see it the way that many people of color, many liberals have seen it around the country. And so I think for all the progress we think we're making as a nation, certainly for all the progress people pride themselves on the South, again, this notion of a new South, I think what we're seeing tonight, it would appear, when it comes to race, oftentimes in this nation, blacks and whites can receive the same information, but see it differently.
That's the story of the country. We've seen so many times. We are divided in so many different ways. We have some information now coming in from the state of Nevada. The first votes are coming in from the state of Nevada. So much early vote in that state. It was well over 90% voted before election day. Now 74% of it has been counted.
That's right. That's what Here we go, Nevada. Let's see. All right, we don't have any updates in terms of electoral movement. We can yeah, guys. I mean, it's looking. I mean, say what you want to about, the divide of this country. It's still a beautiful thing that I mean, look, like say what you will, right? Like Donald Trump won on his extreme policies in 2016. I don't think he's won tonight, but it just means that the United States is capable of producing man, I want to say we're capable of producing leaders who can affect real change. It's just our our media ecosystem just isn't doing it. Not doing it. All right, let's see what else we got.
Call back depending on how things go.
That follow. But I do think that at this moment in time, the fact that, again, it seems like these predictions that it was going to be melting down and people would be taken to the streets to demand that the Electoral College be called by tonight have not come to pass.
That was a good
and just quickly to Jonathan Capehart and Ellen.
Real quick. Let's just address these protests, because actually my building is they've put wood all over the glass in my building. Like if they think that people were gonna be like out in this street for, look, man, 137 million people. It's not even half the country. That's not even close to half the country. It just goes to show you, I think a lot of people tune out, but the media has a way of inciting people. If we could only incite people, incite people to love and not hate, incite people to come together and to not divide.
Eliana Johnson, it looks like Amy's right. I mean, that right now we don't have a massive revolt, thank God, in the streets, even though this election is hanging in the balance.
Right, and I'm glad Amy said that, because that's actually the point I was trying to get to. That for all of the anxiety and anxiousness that's been out there, particularly today, that the American people are, they're willing to wait. They're willing to let the process go forward. And it is my sincere hope that despite the nefarious actions that Amy rightly pointed to that could happen, it is my hope that the leadership of this country, Democratic and Republican, will stand shoulder to shoulder, as we've seen in some jurisdictions where you've had candidates on either side, secretaries of state on either side, standing together to say it is, it is an American duty, civic responsibility to vote, and that talking about their duty to make sure that those votes are counted. And I hope that if nefarious things do happen, that we will see Republicans and Democrats come together and say, this is not how we do things in the United States.
And quickly, not quickly, but Eliana, to you, because I want to come back to you and give you a chance to weigh in here. I mean, how much confidence do you have that the American people are going to stay calm, stay cool at this very serious moment?
I can be quick. I'm reluctant to weigh in on that, but I can only say that I certainly hope that the relative peace that we've seen tonight continues once we have a result in the election. I actually think that there's more of a chance to see unrest, and I think it's painful for all of us who live in D.C. We've seen businesses and restaurants and essentially the city boarded up in anticipation of this, that continues once all the votes are counted.
All right, we are going to leave it there at 1:49 in the morning. David Brooks, Eliana Johnson, Jonathan Capehart.
Yep, and I think that's gonna be it for me too. Even though we're at the most viewers we've had, I really appreciate you guys for coming and stopping by. It seems like it's not over yet, and we still have a ways to go before anyone can claim victory. So keep that in mind when you wake up to a tweet storm from either of these candidates, but you know where that tweet storm is really coming from. Keep that in mind, that there's still a lot of time and a lot of ballots that have to be counted. Yeah, I really appreciate you guys for hanging in there. Zachariah, man, thank you for all your comments. Connor, appreciate you. Kids, if you rewatch this tomorrow, thank you for all your comments. Yeah, Election Day 2020. It's in the history books. Wow. And there we go. I will, Zachariah. I'll probably be doing a live stream tomorrow, and you guys can catch me then. Kendall, thank you for your comments. All right, guys. I am going to sign off. I hope you guys have a good evening, afternoon, morning, wherever you guys are, whatever you guys are doing. I hope the sun finds its way onto your face. I do. All right, guys. I'm out. Thank you. Thank you for watching.